I need to tell you something that I genuinely wish someone had told my patients years earlier. After the age of 60, your body processes water differently than it did when you were 40. And most seniors have absolutely no idea this is happening. You drink your 8 glasses a day. You do everything right. And yet you still wake up with that heavy, foggy feeling. You still have cold hands that never seem to warm up. You still feel that strange tiredness in your legs by mid-afternoon. Even though you have barely done anything, you still get dizzy when you stand up too fast. Most people blame those feelings on getting old. I am here to tell you today that the research says something very different. I am Dr. Robert Harrison, and today I want to talk to you about one molecule, just one. It is called nitric oxide. And once you understand what it does and what happens to it as you age, everything I am about to share with you will make complete sense. Nitric oxide is the molecule your blood vessel walls produce to relax and open up. When your vessels are relaxed and open, blood flows freely. Oxygen reaches your brain. Warmth reaches your hands and feet. Your muscles get what they need. Your heart does not have to work as hard. Nitric oxide is essentially the master switch for healthy circulation. And here is what the research tells us very clearly. After 60, your body produces significantly less of it. A review published in the journal Nitric Oxide and Geriatrics Index through the National Institutes of Health stated something that I want every senior watching this to hear directly. Enzymatic production of nitric oxide declines steadily with increasing age in healthy human subjects, not just in people with heart disease, not just in people with diabetes, in healthy people just because of age. And then a 2025 review published in the Journal of Cardiovascular Aging went even further. It confirmed that reduced nitric oxide availability with age contributes to endothelial dysfunction, vascular stiffening, and impaired cardiac performance. These are the hallmarks of cardiovascular aging, and they are connected to one declining molecule that plain water simply cannot restore. Here is why that matters so much when it comes to your morning glass of water. Plain water hydrates your cells. It helps your kidneys flush waste. It is absolutely necessary for life, and I am not telling you to stop drinking it. But plain water does not trigger nitric oxide production. It does not carry the compounds that tell your aging blood vessel walls to relax. It does not neutralize the oxidative stress that is actively destroying the nitric oxide your body is still trying to make. And research published through the NIH on hydration in older adults has confirmed that seniors are less able to compensate for increases in blood viscosity compared to younger people. Thicker blood, stiffer vessels, less nitric oxide. That combination is what sits behind every one of those dismissed symptoms. Now, here's the good news. And I genuinely mean that, because today I am going to share 5 specific drinks all built around real peer-reviewed research that address the nitric oxide problem at its root. These are not pills. They are not prescriptions. They are drinks made from things you can find at any grocery store. And I am going to rank them from number 5 all the way to number 1. The drink in the number 1 position is backed by research from a Nobel Prize-winning pharmacologist at UCLA. And what that research found about what this drink does inside your blood vessels is something that no other natural substance has been shown to do. Stay with me all the way to the end. That number 1 drink is worth every minute of your time. Before we start, I want to say 2 things clearly. First, if you are on blood pressure medication, blood thinners, or any cardiovascular drugs, please talk to your doctor or pharmacist before adding any new daily drink habit. Some of these have real measurable effects on blood pressure and can interact with medication. That is a 2-minute conversation that makes everything safe. Second, none of these are replacements for your doctor's care. They are additions to it. Daily food-based choices that stack on top of your existing treatment and work with your body's own biology. All right, let's count down. I want to start here because apple cider vinegar has a reputation problem. Most seniors either love it or think it sounds like something their grandmother used to cure everything. So, let me cut straight to the science and tell you specifically what it does inside your blood vessels. Apple cider vinegar contains acetic acid. When acetic acid is absorbed into your bloodstream, it converts to a compound called acetate. And acetate activates an enzyme in the lining of your blood vessel walls called endothelial nitric oxide synthase. That enzyme is the biological machinery your vessels use to manufacture nitric oxide. Acetate essentially turns that machinery on. A study published in Bioscience, Biotechnology, and Biochemistry measured what happens to forearm blood flow after vinegar consumption and found that acetic acid measurably increased blood flow through this nitric oxide pathway. A 2023 randomized controlled trial published in Frontiers in Clinical Diabetes and Healthcare found that apple cider vinegar improved blood glucose and lipid profiles in adults with diabetes, two factors that are directly connected to vascular health. When blood sugar spikes repeatedly after meals, it damages the delicate inner lining of your blood vessels. That lining is exactly where nitric oxide gets produced. Apple cider vinegar helps blunt those spikes and protects the machinery that your circulation depends on. Here is exactly how to use this safely. 1 to 2 tablespoons diluted into at least 12 O of warm water. Never straight. The acid is strong enough to damage your tooth enamel and your esophagus if taken undiluted. Add a teaspoon of raw honey to improve the taste. Drink it through a straw and rinse your mouth with plain water afterward. Start with 1 tablespoon for the first week to see how your stomach responds. If you have acid reflux, take it with food rather than on an empty stomach. The key word for every drink on this list is consistency. 1 day of apple cider vinegar does nothing. 30 days of it every morning is where the research shows measurable change. I know how that sounds, but stay with me for 60 more seconds because the mechanism behind this one is specific, documented, and genuinely surprising. Inside the cells lining your blood vessels, there is a receptor called TRPV1. Most people have never heard of it. When capsaicin, the active compound in cayenne pepper, binds to that receptor, it triggers a calcium response inside the cell. That calcium response activates the same enzyme we just talked about, endothelial nitric oxide synthesis. More enzyme activity means more nitric oxide produced in your vessel walls. More nitric oxide means those walls relax. They open. Blood flows more freely. Research published in PMC Index journals through the National Institutes of Health confirmed that capsaicin promotes blood flow to tissues by stimulating nitric oxide release. A review in Current Pharmaceutical Design described this TRPV1 pathway as having important potential for promoting vascular and metabolic health in aging adults. Now I want to be honest with you the way I always am. Most of the strongest capsaicin research has been in animal and cellular studies. Human trials are promising, but still growing. What we do know is that the mechanism is real. The compound is safe in normal food amounts, and populations that have eaten cayenne consistently for generations show remarkably low rates of cardiovascular disease. The lemon you add is not just for taste. Vitamin C in lemon works as an antioxidant that protects nitric oxide from being broken down before it can do its job. The preparation is simple. Start with 1/8 of a teaspoon of cayenne pepper in 12 ounces of warm water. Squeeze in half a fresh lemon. Stir well. Drink it slowly. Do not rush this one because the warmth needs time to distribute through your digestive system. If you tolerate 1/8 of a teaspoon without discomfort after 1 week, move to 1/4 teaspoon. Never take high-dose cayenne capsules as a shortcut. Capsaicin in isolated supplement form at high doses has been associated with adverse effects that normal food preparation avoids entirely. This is one of those situations where nature's packaging matters. The food form is safe. The isolated high-dose supplement is not what we are recommending here. Now we are getting into the most extensively researched territory on this entire list. What happens when you drink beetroot juice is one of the most well-documented processes in cardiovascular nutrition of the last 2 decades. And I want to take you through it step by step because once you understand it, you will never look at a beet the same way again. Beetroot is one of the richest sources of dietary nitrate of any food on Earth. When you drink beetroot juice, that nitrate gets absorbed in your upper digestive tract. Your salivary glands then pull nitrate from your blood back into your saliva. Bacteria on your tongue convert it to nitrite. That nitrite travels into your bloodstream and converts to nitric oxide. This is called the nitrite-nitric oxide pathway, and it bypasses the aging enzyme system entirely. Remember how I said your body's ability to make nitric oxide through its natural enzyme pathway declines with age? This dietary pathway does not have that problem. The NIH-indexed research from the Nitric Oxide and Geriatrics Journal stated explicitly that the dietary pathway through reduction of nitrate and nitrite is not affected by age. It is dependent on specific foods and diets, not on your body's aging machinery. That means beetroot gives older adults a way to produce nitric oxide that age cannot take away from them. A 2025 University of Exeter study published in Free Radical Biology and Medicine even found that seniors had an advantage over younger adults in converting dietary nitrate to nitric oxide because of their oral microbiome. I regularly hear from people in this community who add beetroot to their routine and notice over a few weeks that their hands and feet feel warmer, that the heavy dragging feeling in their legs by afternoon is less pronounced, that their morning walks feel a little easier. There is a direct physiological reason for all of those experiences. Now, here is where ginger makes this combination even more powerful. Research published through BMC Complementary Medicine and Therapies confirmed that the compounds in ginger, called gingerols and shogals, have potent anti-inflammatory effects in blood vessel walls. Chronic inflammation in blood vessel walls is one of the primary reasons circulation deteriorates with age. Beetroot addresses the nitric oxide supply. Ginger addresses the inflammation, destroying it. Together, they work on both sides of the same problem. To make this drink, you need either 1 medium raw beet blended with 8 ounces of water and strained, or 2 tablespoons of beetroot powder mixed into 12 ounces of water. Then add half a teaspoon of freshly grated ginger. Keep a whole ginger root in your freezer and grate directly from frozen. It grates more easily that way, and the active compounds stay preserved right up to the moment you use it. Nitric oxide production from beetroot peaks about 2 to 3 hours after drinking. So if you take a morning walk or do any light exercise, drink your beetroot and ginger about 2 hours beforehand. One caution: beetroot lowers blood pressure measurably. If you are on blood pressure medication, please discuss this with your doctor before making it a daily habit. I want to pause here because I know what some of you just thought. He is about to tell me that drinking chocolate is medicine. And yes, that is exactly what I'm about to tell you. And the science behind this is so consistent and so well replicated across so many institutions that it is no longer a fringe idea in cardiovascular research. It is mainstream. Dark cacao, meaning raw cacao powder with at least 70% cocoa content, contains compounds called flavonols, primarily epicin and procyanidins. And what these flavonols do inside your blood vessels is genuinely remarkable. They increase the activity of the enzyme that produces nitric oxide, while simultaneously reducing the oxidative stress that breaks nitric oxide down. 2 mechanisms, 1 drink. A meta-analysis published in Current Nutrition Reports reviewed 19 randomized controlled trials involving 454 participants and found that dark chocolate significantly improved flow-mediated dilation compared to placebo. Flow-mediated dilation is the gold standard clinical measurement of how well your blood vessels can relax and open. A randomized trial published in Food and Function specifically studied healthy elderly adults aged 55 to 79 and found that cocolavinols improved peak oxygen consumption and exercise capacity after just 30 days. And a study published in the American Heart Association's journal Hypertension found that cocolavonol consumption in elderly individuals with mild cognitive impairment improved cognitive test scores, blood pressure, and insulin sensitivity at the same time. When blood flow to the brain improves, thinking improves, memory improves, the morning fog lifts. That is not a side effect. That is the direct result of better cerebral circulation. Here is how to use this correctly, and it matters that you get this right. 2 tablespoons of raw cacao powder, not hot cocoa powder from a packet. Not milk chocolate, raw cacao. Check that label. At least 70% cacao content. Mix it into 12 ounces of warm water or warm milk. Add a teaspoon of honey if needed. The best time for this drink is mid-afternoon between 2 and 4 o'clock. Research on circadian rhythm and cardiovascular function suggests that your blood vessel responsiveness is naturally higher during this window than at any other time of day. Drinking your cacao in that window aligns the flavonol activity with your body's natural peak cardiovascular responsiveness. It is a small timing detail that compounds over weeks of consistent use. I have been building toward this one since the very first scene, and I want to take my time with it because the science behind pomegranate juice and what it does inside aging blood vessels is unlike anything else on this list. In 2006, Nobel Prize-winning pharmacologist Dr. Luis Ignero and his team at the Department of Molecular and Medical Pharmacology at UCLA published a landmark paper in the journal Nitric Oxide. The title of that paper tells you everything you need to know. Pomegranate juice protects nitric oxide against oxidative destruction and enhances the biological actions of nitric oxide. Let me explain what that means for your body. Every time your blood vessel walls produce nitric oxide, free radicals in your bloodstream immediately attack it and try to destroy it. Nitric oxide is fragile. It survives only seconds before oxidative stress breaks it down. Dr. Ignorou's research found that the polyphenol in pomegranate juice, specifically compounds called punicinsins and elegotinins, create a protective shield around nitric oxide that dramatically extends how long it stays active before being destroyed. His team tested pomegranate juice against Concord grape juice, blueberry juice, red wine, vitamin C, and vitamin E. Pomegranate juice was more potent than all of them at protecting nitric oxide against oxidative destruction. It was not close, and that research has only gotten stronger with time. A 2025 randomized controlled trial published in the journal Nutrients studying adults aged 55 to 70 specifically found that 12 weeks of pomegranate extract supplementation reduced systolic blood pressure by over 5 points and measurably improved endothelial function markers. Here is why that 5-point reduction matters beyond just a number. Research published in The Lancet found that a 5-point reduction in systolic blood pressure reduces the risk of major cardiovascular events by 10%. That is the clinical significance of a drink you can buy at the grocery store. A systematic review in phytotherapy research covering 22 randomized controlled trials confirmed that pomegranate consistently reduces both systolic and diastolic blood pressure with greater reductions in people who have higher baseline numbers. The people who need it most benefit the most. There is also a brain connection that UCLA health researchers have been studying for nearly 20 years. A placebo-controlled study found that phytonutrients from pomegranate juice reduced oxidative stress on the brain and helped with memory retention in middle-aged and older adults. Dr. Xiaoying Li of UCLA explained the pathway directly. Pomegranate helps the body produce nitric oxide. Nitric oxide improves blood vessel health. Blood vessels widen and increase circulation, and that improved circulation reaches the brain. Better brain circulation, better memory, less fog. This is not a separate benefit from the circulation effects. It is the same mechanism expressing itself in a different part of the body that needs blood flow just as much as your hands and feet do. Here is how to use pomegranate juice correctly. 8 ounces of pure pomegranate juice daily. Not from concentrate, no added sugar. Read the label carefully because many commercial pomegranate drinks are mostly grape or apple juice with a small amount of pomegranate added. It should say 100% pomegranate juice. The deep red color and slightly tart taste are how you know you have the real thing. If the taste is too intense, dilute it with 4 ounces of water. Drink it in the morning or early afternoon. One important interaction to know: pomegranate juice can affect the enzyme that metabolizes certain medications similar to grapefruit, including some blood thinners and blood pressure drugs. Please confirm with your pharmacist before making this a daily habit. That 2-minute conversation makes this drink safe for almost everyone. Now, let me tell you what ties all 5 of these drinks together at the deepest level. Every single one of them works on the same problem. Your aging body has lost some of its ability to produce the molecule that keeps your blood vessels relaxed and open. Plain water does not address that. But these 5 drinks each bring something specific to that problem. Apple cider vinegar activates the enzyme that makes nitric oxide. Cayenne activates the receptor pathway that triggers nitric oxide production. Beetroot delivers dietary nitrate that bypasses the aging enzyme system entirely. Dark cacao flavonols both increase nitric oxide production and protect it from oxidative breakdown. And pomegranate juice protects the nitric oxide that is already there from being destroyed before it can do its work. I regularly see people in my practice who have been doing everything right for years, taking their medications, drinking their water, eating reasonably well, and still experiencing cold hands, heavy legs, brain fog, and morning tiredness that never fully lifts. When they add 1 or 2 of these drinks consistently over several weeks, the feedback I hear most often is that something shifted. Their feet started feeling warmer, their afternoon energy improved, their morning clarity came back in a way it had not in years. None of that is magic. All of it is the predictable biological result of giving aging blood vessel walls what plain water simply cannot provide. Here is the honest timeline so you know what to expect. In the first week, if you are consistent with your chosen drink, You may notice warmth in your extremities within 30 minutes to 2 hours of drinking. That is the initial vasodilation response. By weeks 2 and 3, many people notice the afternoon heaviness in their legs lessening, the morning fog lifting a little sooner. By 4 to 6 weeks of genuine daily consistency, the compounds from these drinks begin accumulating their protective effects in your arterial walls. This is when the real structural change starts to build. By 3 months, if you have maintained this habit alongside your existing medical care, you're giving your circulation the daily nutritional support that the research says aging blood vessels need and do not get from plain water alone. Your cold hands are not just a quirk. Your heavy legs are not just aging. Your brain fog is not just tiredness. These are the quiet signals of blood vessels that are working harder than they need to because the molecule that helps them relax has been declining for years without anyone telling you what to do about it. Now you know. 5 drinks, 1 underlying biology, and a daily habit that takes less time than your morning routine already does. I am Dr. Robert Harrison. If what I shared with you today was helpful, please hit that like button and subscribe to this channel so you never miss a video like this one. Drop a comment below telling me which drink you are starting with first. I genuinely read every single one. Thank you for being here. I will see you in the next.